Have we found the competition's next dominant forward? The D's finally show some ticker and the Swans fall deeper into that hole. But we start tonight, Kane Corns, with the big story at Marvel Stadium. The Dogs, how do they go from losing to Carlton to beating Richmond in the space of 2 weeks?
It's a dominant performance, but it's a confusing one, isn't it? And the key to it was this, their centre bounce goals. They kicked 5 goals straight out of centre bounce to none from Richmond. You'll see that one there from Bontempelli. He kicked the ball, so the lack of effort defensively from Brandon Ellis and a couple of other Richmond midfielders on that occasion cost them a goal. He was amazing, Bontempelli, kicked 3 goals, thought he was the best player on the ground. Once again here, well, it's nothing spectacular, is it? But they win the ball out of stoppage. They win the ground ball in their forward 50. There's a great goal there. They did this 5 times on the night. Richmond not able to compete in the centre bounce area tonight. And considering they got a young ruckman up against a premiership ruckman, so it's English up against the big fella Nan Curvis, it was a surprising stat. But it wasn't just that. They're dominant all over the ground. And if you look at some of the numbers, plus 113 in disposals, 62 in marks, 12 in clearances. And clearly the domination of possession is a tactic, because we saw what Collingwood did to the Richmond in round 2 when they had plus 94 marks. So clearly that's a tactic. Match them on the inside, control the footy on the outside.
Now, you said Bont was best on ground. This man went pretty close. 9 contested marks, only 1 behind the all-time recorded record of Wayne Carey. Aaron Naughton could do no wrong at Marvel Stadium.
Oh, it's unbelievable performance tonight. The 9 contested marks that you said, the 5 goals, he was jumping and everything. Look, I thought Richmond made it easy for him because there was no body contact on him. That one there is Grimes, a premiership defender. Some saying the best defender in the game. Well, he just lets Naughton, who we know loves a run and jump. We'll see it there. There's no body contact whatsoever, but he's been down, he's been flat for a couple of weeks. It was just great to see one of the best aerialists and one of the players who's got the best highlights reel in the AFL and someone we all love to watch be at his absolute best tonight. It was a great story.
No Alex Rance. Jeremy Cameron took hold of them in round 3 tonight. I guess for the first time since that game, Aaron Naughton's done it. Are we going to see more of this open up?
Yeah, it's hard to know. Richmond have been so impressive, haven't they, over the last 3 weeks without the big names, starting when they went to Port Adelaide and beat Port. But 20 marks inside 50 tonight the Dogs took. No Alex Rance there. That doesn't happen if Alex Rance plays. You're not taking 20 marks inside your forward 50 with the game's best defender. So a few cracks there. I think it's more about the way and the game style you come in and play against Richmond. If you can match them at the stoppage like the Dogs did tonight with those 5 centre bounce goals, and then you spread on the outside and you control possession, then they really struggle to defend the ground.
Now, this incident caught our eye. Billy Gowers always got plenty of character, but he might come under the match review question for this one.
Yeah, it's not a good look, is it? Now, he probably gets off with a fine. If it's rated as intentional, that'd be a week.
Yeah.
I think Michael Christian will grade that as careless, and the contact is not significant, so I think it'll be a fine. I think that's about the right penalty, but you want to be careful. We don't want to see headbutts in the game.
All right, to the MCG today. The D's, they were on the ropes leading in. Simon Goodwin spoke about that, but they came up big when the game was on the line.
Yeah, they did. It was a low-scoring, sort of scrappy game, wasn't it? Here's some of the key moments. There's Gartlett tackle on Bruce. They play on through Hunt, and he centres the ball. They get a goal out of that. Look at the time there. It was a pivotal last quarter. I did like the way they stood up in some of the big moments in the last quarter. In particular, that's Declan Kelty with 7 minutes to go. He's been in the ruck, and Gawn's gone forward, the All-Australian ruckman. That was a surprise move from Simon Goodwin. All the players out on the ground that called that, but it worked, because you see here once again Melbourne win a ground ball inside their forward 50. That's the area they were strong, and that man Harms was outstanding today. Not only did he have 31 possessions himself, but restricted Jager O'Meara to 19. See another one here, Chad Wingard. We'll talk about him in a second. Dirty day. Missed opportunity for Wingard. Look at the score, 20-odd seconds to go with the chance to put them in front. Wasn't to be, and Melbourne hold on. You'll see the relief from Simon Goodwin, the emotion. They needed that one. They needed it badly.
Absolutely. Now, the Hawks moved to 3 and 4 as a result. You don't often hear this from Alistair Clarkson post-match, speak about the opposition in this light.
Yeah, Melbourne will applaud the fact that they've won a game, because they've been down and out and they really needed to win if they wanted to keep their season alive. So they'll be dancing from the rooftops tonight, but they didn't play outstanding footy either today. They're going to need, just like us, play a hell of a lot better footy than that. But fortune for them, they win the game. Fortune for us last week, we just win the game. But we're not. Neither side showed anything today to suggest that they're going to be any threat come the end of the year.
It was strong, wasn't it? I'm not sure there's any other coach in the league that would probably get away with it if it wasn't Clarko. Now, what he said is true. I think absolutely, and Melbourne have to be careful that win doesn't wallpaper over some serious cracks at that club. And I was interested today, no player under 21 years of age at Melbourne. I think they've got some real decisions to make about some of their senior players. Now, we've spoken about Jordan Lewis on this program a couple of weeks ago, which caused a bit of a stir, but once again, you question why he's even in that side, and they're playing him and not playing some youngsters. Nathan Jones is also in a poor patch of form, a really poor patch, was quiet again today. So there's two veterans at Melbourne they need to make a call on, and perhaps got to get some youth into that side to rejuvenate the group at the moment.
They've had a lack of first-round picks. They've given up 3 for Stephen May and Jake Lever combined, so that's potentially a hole that's going to be seen in the next couple of years. Now, you spoke about Chad Wingard. First of a 5-year deal at the Hawks on that $700,000 to $800,000 a season. He's averaging his lowest disposal count in a season to date than his debut season.
Yeah, just 14 disposals a game so far through his 5 games. Just the 6 goals from Wingard. Now, you probably give him a bit of a pass because he's had an interrupted pre-season and he's just sort of finding his way into a new system. He's playing more forward than probably he's ever had. But this was the game today. It was no impact. Now, they need more from Chad Wingard. If Chad Wingard's at his best, they win this game today. Hawthorn, there is absolutely no doubt about that. And that's what they recruited him for, to have big moments. Maybe not as consistently as he had when he played up the ground for Port Adelaide, but they need big moments. And this was interesting also. This is the frustration you think Jared Ruffhead's trying to explain to Chad now, without knowing exactly what's going on. Perhaps it's about the new system that they're playing with, but clearly there's some frustration with the Hawks forward lines and Wingard, and you can tell he's visibly upset with the feedback they were giving him, which is, been a bit consistent with his career so far, Chad Wingard, and perhaps doesn't accept feedback as well as he could.
That was at half-time. He was asked to pull his finger out at Port Adelaide, ended up leaving at the end of last year. Now, over to the West, the Eagles, they're far from playing near their best right now, but they worked hard against the Suns, and this burst in the second quarter. They kicked 5 goals in the space of 8 minutes.
Yeah, well, this was the difference in the game, clearly, because after half-time, I think it was 6 goals to Gold Coast, 3 to West Coast, but just the names that got involved in this second quarter. So Yo had 10, Gaff had 10, Shuey 9, Sheed 8, and Jack Darling kicked 3 just in this quarter alone. So when you're having your best premiership players stand up like they did, it just shows how good they are. Now, I'm not too concerned about them. There's some issues and some areas of their game they need to work on, but at this early stage of the year, the Eagles just need to win and put themselves in a position towards the back half to get going. Clearly, the coach doesn't see it like that, though, because he wants perfection, as all coaches do, and he was frustrated at something during the second quarter. So they're working their way into it, but I've got a lot of faith in the Eagles. They'll come good. He
was strong last week, Adam Simpson. Asked his players to put their head up with the footy. A little bit better in that department. Now, this from Shannon Hearn, a big bump earlier in the game. We think he should be okay despite the pretty big hit.
You can't penalise a player for that because his sole intention is to go for the ball. In fact, he almost wins the ball, or he does make contact with the ball and almost gathers possession. Now, the unfortunate part is there's a head in the way, but that's footy. That's the game that we play. It's a collision sport. So you'd hate to see a player get suspended for a fair hit and attack on the ball.
Jeremy Cameron, 30 goals for the season now from 7 games. He was dominant today, our Saturday star. I couldn't believe this in the first quarter. They played Dara Joyce, the Irishman, on the Common Medal leader.
Well, no, Jake Carlisle hurts, doesn't it? And particularly
and they dropped Nathan Brown
when
as
he
well.
was the perfect matchup for Jeremy Cameron, and probably their best player. This piece of play I just absolutely love. He's got the number 18 on his back. Well, reminiscent of Wayne Carey in his day. We've had to speed it up. The work rate to get back inside 50 and the courage to do this. Not sure there's many players in the game that do this. Run back, not knowing what's coming, and then take a big mark just at the top of the goal square. So 6 today, 30 for the year, as you said. Right now, the most damaging and deadly key forward in the game.
Copped a shoulder hit late in the game. We'll see how that comes up, but he did have ice on that post-game. Now, we move to Brisbane now. The Lions, they're 5-2, but the Swans just continue to get beat up around the footy. The Lions had it all too easy at the Gabba.
Well, I put this on the agenda last week when the Giants beat up on the Swans, but just love the Lions' ability to win the ball at the source and then get it to the outside. And we'll see a couple of examples of that here, but once again, they were plus 42 in contested ball today. Here it is. There's a scramble. Swans have got it. Now the Lions have got it, and they are away. The spread from stoppage. Sydney just couldn't go with them. We know they lack leg speed. What about that effort there from Robinson? Just outstanding free kick and a goal. But love it. I love this. Rich on the outside, and they're damaging players with youth and speed. Did all the damage today.
They're the only team this year to score 100 points on 5 occasions or more. So pretty strong start from the Lions. Now the Swans, when they were winning premierships back in 2012, they were runners-up back in 2016. They were ranked first in the comp in contested possessions, but since then, it's been a pretty steep decline.
Well, it has, and you've always known that probably since 2012, you rock up to a Swans game, you're going to get fierce effort and attack on the ball. And they're usually at least going to win or break even, contested and tackle. But it hasn't been the case this year. 17th, so that's their standard game plan. And when they can't get that right, everything else gets shown up.
They've still got Kennedy, Parker and Jack in this lineup, and they're continuing to get done around the footy.
Well, those guys are aging, aren't they, a little bit, and they've done a power of work for a long time. So, yeah, there's a lack of depth right now through that midfield.
Now, back to Friday night, I was in the Collingwood rooms, very emotional scenes down there. It's lit up social media. It's where we find Mel Horsey. This was great to see the response.
Yeah, absolutely. Social media, obviously, it often gets a rap as, a kind of negative place. But I tell you what, it was the opposite to that last night. We were absolutely flooded with heartwarming messages, and it was on the back of the way the Pies embraced a young, sick fan. You'll see in this photo that Bucks tweeted today. Kieran, he's 6 years old. He's a massive Pies fan, but unfortunately he's got brain cancer. And the Pies gave him a VIP treatment throughout the week. And it was this moment when some of the players cheered him off post-game. It moved a lot of people to tears, myself included, and social media lit up. I loved this from Bucks. He said that it was great to see the humans beneath the armour that the players wear on weekends. I love that. And lots of the players also took to social media after the game to, say that Kieran was really inspirational and that they really enjoyed the night. Now, Mason Cox, he wasn't out there, but I thought he summed it up pretty well, saying so many feels. And during the week, he said that this is exactly what professional sport is all about. Now, it was actually former Pie Andrew Cracker that got the club in touch with young Kieran, and he posted this photo that he had a great night with his little mate Kieran, and thanks to the club for being so supportive of him. So guys, I loved this one, and I wasn't the only one. As we said, social media was just inundated with lots of really lovely messages, and credit to the Pies for just a beautiful show of support for young Kieran, and all the best with his tough weeks ahead. But as for the game, gee whiz, Port were absolutely blown off the park in that first quarter. And I tell you what, Swanee, he loves to ruffle some feathers, and he didn't miss another opportunity. He said, not sure Port Adelaide realised there's a time difference between Melbourne and Adelaide. Hopefully they turn up in the second quarter. He then went on to tweet a photo of a yawning sloth. So he didn't start to enjoy the game much more. Kane, you tweeted after that first quarter saying Control-Alt-Delete. What happened?
Well, it was hard to argue with Swanee. It was almost like the time delay got Port Adelaide. We're going to take a look at some of those numbers, Mitch, from the first quarter, and they were just blown away. Now, I'm not sure there's a more dangerous team at their best than Collingwood right now in the competition. Have a look at that. That's just in the first quarter alone. See the disposal differential, contested possession, handball received, inside 50s. They conceded 20. Can't win games of footy like that, and they were even out-tackled despite the fact that Collingwood dominated possession and 13 scoring shots to 3.
You've been on the end of some Ken Hinkley bakes. Where does this rate? And he went straight to Ollie Wines, and then the ruckman Scott Lycett.
He doesn't miss, does he? And he usually goes right to the top. He's gone straight to the captain, Ollie Wines. Scott Lycett started in the ruck, well beaten by Grundy. He comes back for another spray here, Ken, and I like it. I like a coach that has a hard edge. He certainly has that. The players respect him, and he only pulls it out when it's needed, and it was needed. They got a response after quarter time and actually outscored Collingwood for the last 3 quarters, but damage was done.
Now, you said earlier in the year, Bryce Gibbs played the worst 27 disposal game you'd seen. He got dropped the week later. Ollie Wines had 28, but didn't have a great impact on this one.
Yeah, it was up there as well, wasn't it? Now, he's not going to get dropped the week after Ollie Wines, but he had 9 kicks and just 1 effective. He kicked the ball at 11%. It was a really strange night for the skipper. This one here, Ollie, you're the captain. You've got to go back and kick the goal, take it upon yourself and kick a captain's goal. At that stage, he chose to handball. His decision-making last night was completely off. You see him cough up another one there, and then the next one is probably the worst one from Ollie here, just a handball under no pressure that misses by 3 or 4 metres. Collingwood go down and kick a goal in the last quarter. Ollie Wines comes to the bench. He was distraught. He knows he's had a poor night. We've all had them. But he needs to respond because Port Adelaide got the biggest game ever for their home and away season, a showdown next week. There's the vision of Ollie distraught straight after that handball turnover.
And the power target of Max Gawn at the start of the year, no impact again on Brody Grundy.
Oh, it was strange for me. It was bizarre. I would have thought after round one and the success they had getting under the skin of Gawn, I see Grundy in the same category.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure why Port Adelaide on the big stage didn't go after Brody Grundy, who was dominant once again. And yeah, I was disappointed in the lack of physicality from Port Adelaide because it has worked for them this year so far.
To the rest of the round now, we get to see the first meaningful aspect of that Carlton and Adelaide trade. Liam Stocker, the player that they got as part of it last year, debuting for the Blues.
Yeah, and the fallout for North Melbourne in particular, I think, if they do lose this, clearly a massive game for both clubs, but North more so. Geelong and Essendon, the country game that's going to be massive at the MCG. And can Fremantle try and go to Adelaide and do something, because I think they're 1-6 in their last attempts on Adelaide Oval.
Joel Selwood laid out today if you've missed that news. Now, the Demons, they went to the pool during the week. It didn't work out for Christian Petrarca. They're trying something new. How about this pre-game? They tried something new, a little bit of a war cry on the ground at the MCG.
Yeah, footy clubs do all sorts of different things, don't they? Let's go to the vision and have a look at it. It was interesting. The cameras were there.
Play with speed, like big like kick goes like all day like it sounds like all day like it sounds like.
Is into it more so than others, but I'm not sure who was leading the charge there, Mitch. We tried to have a look, but
it's all inner sanctum.
We sort of couldn't get it, and we'll wait for the club to explain it. But usually when something works and you get a result, you continue it next week. So I'm sure the D's will go there again next week.
Let's see how it happens, that war cry for next week. Thanks, Kane. Thanks, Mel Horsey. We'll see you same time, same place next week on The Round So Far.